The man that once coached all four of us, Craig Boynton.
Yes.
I turn around and I'm like, Sam.
Stevie sounds just like a huge pain in the ass.
Huge pain in the ass. Like,
No. Does Stevie want me to quit? I don't think you know that.
I didn't know that.
I'm like, Stevie, come on. Like, his fat.
That was an experience I'll never forget.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nothing Major. I'm John Isner. You know the crew that I'm with, Stevie Johnson, Sam Querrey, and Jack Sock, along with our executive producer, Charlie Fox, and the team at Sift Creative. We are back with another episode. Thank you for listening in.
Today on the pod, we are welcoming in Craig Boynton, a fellow non-major winner and the man that once coached all four of us. So CB, as we call you, thanks for joining the podcast. We're very excited.
And thanks for having me. And if I may start, you guys all had one thing in common. You had kind of inadequate coaching from some period of time when I was on the back. However, if I was able to channel my inner Darren Cahill and get one of you over the line, just think, what would be the name of the podcast now? Like one winner and three other guys?
No, they just wouldn't be part of the podcast.
Yeah, we just have one guy doing a solo career.
Well, there you go. So, well, I apologize to the one. For the other three, you're welcome. So,
all right, I like it.
So, CB, you don't count doubles Grand Slams as a Grand Slam, right?
Not with me. If I was on the bag, I would, yes. But sorry, I wasn't on the bag. So absolutely not. Sorry, Jack. Sorry, Jack. If I was on the bag, I'd be like, yes, for sure, 100%.
Okay, you were on the bag for the Isner-Mahut Marathon match, the 70-68 over 3 days, 11 plus hours. I think everyone wants to know, did you ever go to the bathroom during that match? Did you have to pee? Did you go one time? Or were you scared to leave?
No. So the beginning of the second day, they give you these big Evian bottles that you can grab in the locker room. So I grabbed one and I'm sipping on it. And about 10 all, I get a little twinge. And I'm like, I got to stop drinking. And as the match goes on and on and on, I have waves and I'm like, you don't have to pee, you don't have to pee, you don't have to. And it would go away. It would come back, it would go away. And about middle 30s, the 35 all, the ushers there are firemen from London. And so I got to know the guy and we were just chatting away. I wanted to know about how he got that job. And then I remember John was always up a game. So I turned to him and I said, look, dude, I got to go to the bathroom. And you look around and in that stadium, 18, it's one in, one out. So nobody can get in until somebody leaves. And I flew right back into my seat. And right as I'm sitting down, Nico's ready to serve. So I didn't get to miss a point. But my bladder wasn't the same for about a year after that match, I got to tell you.
That's so great.
You coached all of us at some point in our career, but can we go back a little bit? Who else have you coached on the tour? How did you get into it? What's changed over the years in the coaching department and kind of go from that angle?
So started off, who will I coach, man? Jim Courier, Pete Sampras, Jennifer Capriati, Alex Kuznetsov, and then you fine lads, James Blake, Marty Fish. Then when I was with the USTA, it was help Donald Young. I tried to help Robbie Ginepri, tried to help Mikey Russell. Wow. Did I forget anybody? I think that just says that I'm old. I've been around a long time. So.
Were you on the bag for any major titles with Courier or Sampras?
No. Jim sent me to the U.S. Open and lost to Pete, I believe it was. So Jim, I was with Jim on when he was 1, now 3, now 5. I was on that kind of plane with him. But no major looks at all.
When it comes to the four of us, John was the first one you coached.
Yes.
Can you kind of go over the moment that you first saw like John or where you met him or like kind of your first impressions? Did you want to coach him? Did you not want to coach him?
So first impressions with John was I was working at Saddlebrook and John had committed to train out of Saddlebrook. And I worked with the academy and also the touring pros. So, John was going to be my responsibility when we were at Saddlebrook. The beauty of what with you, Sam, and John is I had a relationship with you guys for a long period of time before we started coaching, but the coaching player relationship. So I was really blessed in that way. I had a lot of information. I got to see you guys play a lot of matches. John and I became friends quickly because we're a lot alike. And I think it was about 18 months after he was at Saddlebrook that we started working together. And I got to watch his practices. So I was able to really hit the ground running with John, which was definitely an advantage.
CB was the coach that, because I left college, and right out of college, I played pretty well. I mean, I got, close to the top 100. And then I had a sophomore slump, and I basically for 6 months didn't win a single match on tour. My ranking dropped out of the top 100. So CB was the guy that got me from outside the top 100 to firmly inside the top 50, top 30, top 20, where I kind of stayed there for a long, long time. It was in 2009, we hit the ground running, and really my career was off there. So for me, CB was the guy to get me into the top 50, top 30, top 20. And I owe him a huge debt of gratitude for that.
Do you think having good chemistry with a player off the court is almost equally as important as having good chemistry with them on with a player coach on court?
I absolutely think you do, because you're on. I spent more time with you guys than I did my own family when we're on the road, or equal amount. And you have to like who you're traveling with. Otherwise, it's just going to be too much of a grind. What you guys and girls do in terms of playing professional tennis is so incredibly difficult that you need things around you that are easy and simple, and that you can just kind of let your hair down and not have to worry, because you're always in stressful situations. And having someone that you actually enjoy being around, I think, is paramount.
But you mentioned you coached, Courier, Sampras, Capriotti, the four of us. You helped Donald Young and others. Did you ever have a moment in your coaching career where you're like, what am I doing right now? Like, why am I like, why am I here? Why did I get into this?
Hold on. If he doesn't say a moment with me, then I will have to explain
No.
after.
I have a moment where it was that way, but I can't share it on air. I'll be happy to share it with you guys off air, and it has nothing to do with you guys, I promise you. So it was one of those ones where, let's just say, it wasn't on court that I had to take care of issues. So it was that was an interesting story. I'll share it off air.
Okay, you share it off air, and then we'll explain to everyone on air what you told us.
Well, there you go. I have plausible deniability. That's perfect.
That's exactly
Everybody
right.
wins. Everybody wins.
One moment I have in my head, it's, let's see, it's a nice summer rainy day in London, 2016. I'm having maybe the worst start to a year you could have for a guy. I think it was like top 30 or 40 at the time. I think I'm like 6 and like 20 going into Queens. And I'm shocked either CB1 didn't quit on the spot or punch me in the face, because I was being such a douchebag. We had like 10 rain delays during this match with Gasquet. We're in the Queens players lounge, 4-0 rain delay. And I basically tell CB, I'm like, I will punch you in the face if you try and like cheer me up right now. And he just like walked away. Like it was, CB could maybe give some more explanation, but there wasn't many lights on in my head.
I don't know if you know this, but I stepped outside in the street and called Duvall, your agent, Sam Duvall, and said, does Stevie want me to quit? Like, does he want me to quit? I don't think you know that. I'm like,
I didn't know
if he
that.
wants me to quit, I'll quit. Like, you were in a dark place. And the funny thing about that match was you started off, you were awful. And then rain delay, came back, you were angry. Rain delay, came back. I was like, you were still losing, but I was like, okay, now we're starting to see some tennis. Rain delay. And then it was like, Stevie, just keep doing that. And then got back on court and you were back. So in a period of 5 minutes, something switched in your head and Stevie was back. And Duvall calls me up. No, Duvall calls me up after he sees the result. And he's like, okay, what happened? And I'm like, I have no idea.
To be fair, I called Duvall the week prior and told him I was also quitting tennis for life. So if that makes you feel any better, he was the second call he got after a Hertogenbosch loss that I took. But then I ended up beating Gasquet in my first top 10 win. And then won Nottingham the next week, won, fourth round Wimbledon, and the rest is history. But that was a dark moment, and I'm surprised CB did not quit right then on the spot, because he had every right to. Maybe actually just assault me because how badly I was treating him, and then quit.
Well, we all know you could get a little dark, but it wasn't personal. I knew that the issues with you were inside of you. It wasn't me. So
I had a few demons in there.
It was that saying, it's not me, it's you. But in this case, it was really you. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize if I haven't apologized already for a decade ago.
Hey, look, we've all done things. It's all good. Like I said, what you guys go through was not easy. And so, sometimes the coach needs to be someone where the part of that relationship was like, Stevie, I know that you could blow steam my way. I know it wasn't personal. You just needed an outlet. And who's the outlet but the coach? And then, Sam, during match, you guys all handled it differently. Sam, you had a running commentary during some of your matches, and you were just self-deprecating, and it was hysterical. John, you needed the box for energy, like, because it's a college environment. And Jack, you would just need reassurance sometimes with the box. So you guys all use the box for different reasons, and I understood that, and I didn't take it personally.
Circling back to Queens, can you tell us really quick about the time David Beckham sat beside you? To watch Sam Querrey.
Just thinking about that.
Thank you.
I told this maybe like 6 weeks ago. All right.
He's an avid listener, by the way.
I'm on the bike listening to that story, and I'm like, that's not the true story, Sam. Why don't you call him? So this is what happens. Yes.
Oh, what?
No. Yes, it was. You weren't so bothered by it, but by me talking to the person. But like, what happened was, if you remember, you were playing Thompson second round, and Thompson beat Andy Murray first round. So you were supposed to play Andy Murray that day at that time. So Beckham shows up, and he's behind me, and I turn around, and I'm like, Sam.
It's like 3-2 in the second set.
And so I'm like, well, grass court tennis is pretty boring. I'm going to talk to David Beckham. So he's there with his son, who's a tennis player. And so we just start chatting about tennis, and because I was like, are you here for Sam or are you here for Thompson? Like, I don't know kind of how this works out, because if you want to meet Sam, we'll meet him right now. Hey, Sam, no, stop. Take a time out. But he was there to see Andy.
Well, of course.
Of course, but Andy had lost.
He was there to see me too.
Well, substitute, he was there to see you. But Andy had lost, but he was still going to go. I don't even know if he thought he probably didn't check the score. Just showed up and go, hey, where's Andy? Why isn't Sam playing Andy? So that was the story. So he just decided to show up with his son, because his son was an avid fan. We had a great time. I was hoping you go 3 sets so I can continue this on. I'm like, David, you want to come? Sam might be on the outside court. I'll save you a seat if you want to come next round. Well, that was funny.
Did he ever mistake you for George Clooney, maybe at the very beginning?
I was hoping he would. I was trying to give him like camera 1, camera 2, and I was hoping. John, you were so mean to me, but rightly so. So like, people would say I looked like George Clooney, right? And I'll be like this. And so John and I were always very competitive with each other. So John would be like, no, it looks like Jay Leno. Look at the chin. Look at the chin. John would get the biggest kick out of that.
It's going from like the ultimate high to the ultimate low. Present day coaching. You're currently on the market, as they say.
I'm a free agent.
Right? You had a great run with our colleague Hubert Hercox. What's the plan for you right now? Are you waiting for another player, looking around, hoping Alcaraz and Sinner call you? What's
I'm not going to hold my breath on that.
What's your game plan right now, and kind of what are you looking for in the next chapter?
Presently taking all calls. Want to find a fit that works, someone that like we talked about, that you have the relationship with, someone that I can help, someone get from A to B, and in a scenario where it will be. I was blessed with most of my career to be with guys for a number of years, and that's what the relationship that I would like to have and looking forward, and be able to have that once again in 2025.
Would you do wiffle coaching?
Sure, absolutely. Are you offering? Are you offering? Are you offering?
Don't engage in this nonsense.
No, like Jack, there was a serious question. Is there a lot of strategy in pickleball? I mean, just this honest question. Like, is there
more so?
More so. Okay.
I think so too. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Okay.
Were you guys being serious?
Yeah. CB can get that, that white clipboard. You were like one of the few coaches that traveled with the clipboard. Like he was in the NBA and he'd start drawing lines and arrows.
Yeah, exactly. You had a tennis court. Yeah.
You could draw it up.
You could.
You shattered a few with me. Just
you could visualize. You could see it.
Yeah. CB was Steve Kerr before Steve Kerr.
Oh, I like to think so.
You coached me and Stevie simultaneously for like 5 years. We never played each other in that 5-year run.
Shockingly.
But there was a few times where if we both won, we would have played each other.
Many.
Yeah, many times. Did you ever deep down feel like, all right, Stevie won. If I won, we're going to play, or vice versa. You kind of cheered for one of us to lose so it wouldn't happen and you wouldn't have that awkwardness?
No. Never.
Come on, you can be honest. I don't care.
You can be honest. This is an honest podcast.
I never wanted you guys to lose. I never, ever wanted you guys to lose. But the thing was, we had it set up right in the beginning, because I remember talking to you both and said, hey, look, if you guys play each other, Sam, I'm going to get you ready for you to play well. Stevie, I'm going to get you ready for you to play well, but I'm not going to get you ready to play each other. That's going to be on your own. And then I'm either going to be way up top in the stadium, or I'm going to be watching in the locker room. So we had it set up. It was dialed in. Where those situations run into trouble is if it's not set up beforehand, because you both were 50% in terms of, like, both 100% in terms of priority. You can have other situations where player A is the lead and player B isn't. So if they play each other, I'm going to go to player A's box. But all that needs to be set up and organized prior, and we had it dialed in.
I can remember I played one time. I played Hubie at Eastbourne while Stevie was coaching us. So he was like sitting way up in the stands, whatever. And like Hubie beat me. I think it was like relatively close, whatever. But like he was young at the time, and he would just like take balls super early and like come into my backhand. And I was like so annoyed. I was like, Stevie told him what to do right now. Like, this is his new horse, in the stable kind of thing. So I remember leaving the match. Didn't say one word to CB, just walked into the locker room, got my stuff, got to a train. And then like halfway through the train ride, I was like, I mean, everyone knows to come into my backhand. It's really not much of a surprise, like it took me but I was like so annoyed for some reason. And I was just like, well, I guess you'd have to actually be blind to not do what Hubie just did. So I think we're okay on that one. Then we got to Wimbledon and life was good. But there was like an hour stretch there. I was like so annoyed that CB told Hubie how to beat me, because it was a new young like stallion in the stable. But
it was one of your temporary dark phases. That's all. You got out of it.
I had a lot of those, quite frankly.
Yeah, but they were temporary. We all knew that. So no big deal. Yeah. But the thing is, the odd part about that is I had just started working with you and Hubie together in Indian Wells. And like 3, 4, 5 tournaments later, or wherever it was, you guys play each other. And we're like, oh my God, this never happened with Sam and Stevie. It was crazy how that worked.
All right. Well, we have a segment here. We like to call it Hot Seat. And as the guy of this pod that you coached the least amount in the group, I'm going to host this, and you're going to have to. We got thick skin in here, so you're going to have to choose one of the other members of the pod for each of these questions. And I think we're all pretty excited to hear what you got to say.
Fire away. Let the roasting begin.
Here we go. Who improved the most during your time with them?
I would say probably Stevie. I got Steve. Well, Stevie and I started working right out of college, so there was a lot to learn. Not only game style, but also life on tour, how to compete week to week, and so John was already on tour for a couple of years. Sam was on tour for many years, so I would have to say Stevie in that one. A
lot to learn when you come to tour.
Yeah, a lot to learn.
Who had the biggest mood swings?
Well, I wouldn't say there were mood swings per se, but Stevie could get dark.
Yeah, it was Stevie.
It had to get dark.
It wasn't Sam.
Sam has no soul.
Sam doesn't have a mood. He has one mood. It's happy and it's happy-go-lucky, but he's just kind of bouncing. He's a bobblehead guy. But Stevie, like we said, he would go dark, but we'd talk about it because we had such a good relationship, and he was fine. He knew it. He owned his stuff. So
yeah,
it wasn't anything major.
I think I'm going to be the answer to all these emotional questions, unfortunately.
Well, you're the front runner. You could be the front runner.
Who complained to the box the most? I don't know if that goes along with that.
Well, you guys would use the box for different reasons. John would use the box to get entered, that college energy. Sam would just have a running dialogue like he was a comedy script. And Stevie would he needed some stuff to get off his chest. So he would he would do a little barking, but again, it was all bark and no bite.
Okay, so we're 3 for 3 with Stevie so far.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Oh, the next one can't be me.
I think who is the most stubborn?
Oh, that was John, for sure.
Finally,
for sure. But here's the thing. Yeah. It wasn't all his fault. So when John and I started, we were really, really close. We're so much alike in a lot of ways. And I, as a coach, was maybe a little bit aggressive in terms of getting my point over. And so we were so competitive with each other that John wanted to, in some ways, prove me wrong, that what I was saying was wrong and do it his way. But that was just more the function of me being like the cool uncle. That part of that was my fault. That was my doing, but it was definitely John.
Who would you say had the strongest tennis mind?
Well, I would tell you that the most impressive thing that I've ever seen on a tennis court was John's second day of Wimbledon. What he went through. I mean, it was so painful to watch. The only way I can describe it is you're in hell and you just pull up a chair and you sit down there and you wait until John didn't budge. He didn't tap out. And I actually felt the worst for his mom having to watch it. It was brutal to sit through that and to see what John went through and how he just stayed the course. It was actually one of the greatest things from a competitive standpoint I've ever seen.
Wow. And a lot of great shot making too.
Oh, gosh. I think I took 3 naps during that whole thing.
Appreciate that, CV.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Who'd be the most likely to be late to practice?
Well, by default, it's Sam. By default. I'm not saying by default because, okay, hear me out.
Yeah, explain. I feel like we're honestly, before you go, I feel like me, Stevie, and John are maybe the 3 most punctual people in the history of the ATP Tour.
You are.
It would be Jack if Jack was eligible in this game.
Why? Why me?
He is eligible in this game.
You were 10 minutes late today to the podcast. What are you talking about?
First time we have...
you're always like 3 minutes late. You're like 3 minutes late every day.
That might be true. Who's the most competitive in the group?
I would say John, because we were so competitive with each other early on. And one quick story, during the fall, we had a stretch of 3 or 4 tournaments in a row in Europe. And at the time, John wasn't as versatile in Europe as he was in the States, let's say. And so we would always kind of come up with games and we would do things with each other. And so we came up with, and we were always doing stuff with the NFL. And we had a play, so we had a bet, and I won the bet, and whoever lost the bet had to eat with their opposite hand for 1 day, every single meal for every day. And
this game changed my life, by the way. I eat lefty to this day still because of you, John.
Try it one day. But the caveat was if you messed up or forgot and John ate with his right hand, it added a day. So fast forward to day 22 when he's on his last day because he got busted every day. We're in Basel. We had a late match, so we're eating dinner at the courts. He's done. All he's got to do is just avoid. And for some unknown reason, he grabs a big handful of grapes and he's walking down the corridor, right? And all of a sudden he thinks he's Caesar in Roman times, and he's like this with he's like, and I'm like 10, 12 feet behind him. I'm like, what is he doing? Everybody can see it because it's John. And then the words were spoken that he never wants to hear again. I'm pretty sure that's another day, right? Because another day. And he turns around, he starts pelting me with the grate, start firing me at it, and he's so mad and angry. So I go off, I leave him alone. He leaves and goes back to the hotel on his own. I go to my bag and open up my bag, there's smashed grapes. But we were so competitive. Like, I was just waiting for him to eat with his right hand.
If you don't complete that challenge on the first day, it's virtually impossible to complete it because it's anything. It's not meals, it's peanuts, it's whatever. It's a stick of gum. If it goes in right-handed, you're screwed.
Yeah, I am 10 years later from Valencia 2014 where I lost that bet and I still eat left-handed.
It's such a good bet. It is such a good bet.
Who was the toughest to coach ranked from 3 to 1?
The toughest to coach. I would say the easiest to coach was Sam. That was the easiest to coach. And I would say, the times John and I with our competitiveness were tough. But I would say John was second and Stevie would have been 1.
Stevie sounds just like a huge pain in the ass.
Huge pain in the ass. Like so high maintenance, huh?
No. High maintenance, no.
High maintenance, but on time.
High emotional state, yes.
I understood all you guys, and we had such good relationships. And, the way you guys were really easy to coach because it was really simple. The game plan, we kept it simple. So, from that standpoint, the game of the tennis was easy. It's just, the outside stuff was all the stuff that needed to be managed.
Last hot seat question here for you, CB. Who was the most likely to complain about the accommodations?
Quite frankly, guys, to be honest, it was me. I was. It was me. It was me.
Marriott's only?
No. Funny story. Early on, John and I were at the Open at the Waldorf Astoria. Okay. And we checked in and I walked in my room and it was a little pungent, not up to Waldorf standards. So I walked back down and I said, hey, listen, do you guys mind? I just want to change the rooms. And the manager came out around and said to the young lady, let's put Mr. Boynton in a queen suite. And I was like, for free? He's like, yeah. I'm like, this is awesome. So with John and I being competitive, one night, I didn't tell him. So one night I was like, hey, don't worry about food. Order it to my room, right? So the food's there spread out. I'm in this suite. I left the door propped open so he could walk in. He walks in and I'm sprawled out on the suite on the couch like this with a big thing. And he takes a look around and he's in a normal room. He's in like a standard twin, He's so mad. He's so mad. I can remember after he eats real quickly and he just sprays the room with plates. So I had to pick it up and walk out. I was like, what, you didn't get a suite? You didn't get a suite? I mean, everybody here gets a suite. How do you not get a suite? So that was me. That was me.
That's amazing. All right, let's open up. CB, floor is open to you now if you have questions for us.
I have one question. During our time together, what was the craziest match or tournament experience? I've written it down and see if we match up. Johnny, let's go with you first.
Oh, I mean, there's an obvious answer there. The craziest match was Wimbledon 2010. I mean, you were there for all 11 hours and 5 minutes. So if I can, let's say, not count that one.
Yeah, I wasn't counting that one.
Is it the loss to me in Memphis?
Or Belgrade?
I mean, I lost to Sam in 2 finals. I choked both of them.
Sam, you're just going to put salt in that open wound again? So here it is. I got it. Okay, it was early on in Miami. Back when the grandstand court was a good 5-minute jog away. I think you're playing Ferrero. Okay. It was a Spaniard you weren't going to beat, so it was Ferrero. So, and for whatever reason, the strings that you used and the racket that you were using, the marriage it wasn't a good marriage, and you kept on breaking strings in the corner of the racket. And I was so petrified that you were literally going to run out of rackets. I was running back to the stringer, back and forth for the 3 sets. I'd hand you the racket. It would break 12 minutes later. I'd sprint back. And I can remember I'm just hanging out at the stringer, and someone comes by and goes, "How's the match going?" I'm like, "No, I have no idea. No idea. I hope it's going well." Like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just waiting on rackets."
How many miles do you think you ran during the course of that match?
That was a Key Biscayne grandstand?
Key Biscayne, yeah.
Whoa,
I mean, and I was in questionable health at the time, and I was like, I needed a massage after that. I barely saw any of the tennis.
Did John win?
No.
I battled, but I was down to 1 racket, guys, at like 4 different junctures in the match. Like, I popped strings in the corner because it happened. I'm like, I'm going up to, because Ferrero used Prince also. I was going to be like, "Hey, bud."
Yeah, I'm sure you would have been like, "Yeah, sure, for sure."
So, I mean, it was like, I'm like, I'm like doing my strings, make sure they're like perfectly aligned. Because I mean, then I'm like, "CB, come on, like his fat ass, get back over here."
I'm trucking along. I didn't stop halfway. Oh God, that was an experience I'll never forget.
Oh man, hey CB, thank you, dude. I'm sorry, I have got to run. I got a 10:40 flight here, so
no worries.
Appreciate you, CB.
You stay on, CV.
Just John's leaving. You want me to go which one I think? It's got to be the Novak match at Wimbledon. Over 2 days, big moment, number 1 seed.
I have a good story about that one.
Did CB watch that one, or was he watching me? I can't even remember, to be honest.
No, he watched me, but the next round, he watched me and didn't watch you play Federer on center.
No.
Yes.
Yes, but there's a story to that one. But that's not the one I'm thinking about.
We'll get into that next.
Okay, so you want to talk about this story?
Oh, no, I want to talk about which match do you think was the craziest one with you and me?
With Sam, it's all about comedy. And Sam is like Larry David. So it's about going into a situation thinking X, and all of a sudden it becomes Y out of nowhere. So John, I think Sam had just beaten Novak at Wimbledon.
This was the next year, CB, 2017. The one you're referring with is 2017. I hadn't beaten Murray yet, but I'd beaten like Anderson or Tsonga, and I was in like to the 4th round.
Okay, so you're in the 4th round, 2017. And I believe that was the year that Muller beat Nadal also. So I talked to Gilles' coach, and the doubles wasn't going to get in the way of the singles. We just decided, okay, guys, talk with each other. Like, if you win, okay, great. If you lose, good. So it was 3 out of 5 sets, and it was a hot day, too. It was really hot. And you guys go down 2 sets to love, and I'm looking at Gilles' coach, and I'm like, all right, we're on plan. They're down a break. Okay, great. Nope. All of a sudden you break back, and we're like, okay. And you win the 3rd, and we're like, what's going on? And then you guys are winning the 4th, and I said, Sam, what are you doing? Did you not talk to him? And you're like, I don't want to hurt his feelings. I'm not sure if he wants to win. I'm not sure what we want to do. I'm not quite sure. And we're like, well, just tell him. And you didn't want to hurt his feelings. You guys win the 4th. And I'm like, all right, well, we come this way. You might as well win the match. You guys get down 4-0 like that in the 5th. And I come off the court like, what are you doing? And you gave me like, well, I wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And then Ben and I, Gilles' coach, are looking at each other. I mean, it's classic Sam Querrey. That was classic Sam Querrey.
It was a big 3-hour like waste of time on court on a hot day.
And on a hot day. At a slam.
Yeah, the previous year, Sam also had that same problem with doubles. He beats Novak on court 1 to make 4th round. Like the first time Novak lost before the quarters, whatever. Sam and I are supposed to play our first round doubles Saturday afternoon, finally, because there was all this rain. We're playing Zimonjić and Radek Stepanek. And I had just beaten Grigor. So like we were both in the 4th round on Monday. And CB and I were adamant, pull out. I was good. Let's pull out. Let's go to the referee's office. I'm good. We're done. Sam's like, no. Like, I want to play. We're like, whatever. Okay. So it's like 7 p.m. at night, and we walk out there, and like, all I want to do is go back to the house, whatever. And 10 minutes into the match, Sam's like, I don't know why didn't we just retire? I'm like, I tried for like 3 hours, dude, and you wanted to come out here. Now we're going to come out here. You better play. Okay.
Do you remember in that match, Zimonjić hit a tweener and then hit his ankle?
It like almost shattered his leg. Yeah. And we had like another huge long, it was like the worst almost, dude. That was a mistake on your behalf, Sam.
My bad. Apologize.
Jack, I want to hear yours.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously mine's not going to be probably as crazy or as exciting as those, but I would just have to say that city. What was it called?
In Kaohsiung?
Was that China?
It's Taiwan.
Went over to play a challenger. We were looking to, I think, get some confidence or get some points or just some matches. Decided to go to this city that might have been the hottest place I've ever been. It was miserable. I remember Mikey Russell, like fully, his body turned cold during the match. Like he went into he started freeze. Like it was.
Yeah. He had to go to the hospital.
The place was horrible. Everything about it was horrible. I was not in the best place mentally. CB, if you could have added me in some of those questions, that would have been the answer, because I think I was.
No. So actually, I have a completely different thought about that one, because it was definitely the hottest place I'd ever been, and the air quality was really poor. Mopeds everywhere, and so you come out of the hotel, and you could just feel it on your skin. So there was 4 rounds of play, first match through the 4th match. But matches 3 and 4, the temperature would drop literally like 25, 30 degrees. And you did much better in that type of weather, because, I mean, Mikey was first on and I had to go to the hospital, Russell Muscles. So I just made sure that you played 3rd match every time. And so then you win on Friday, you're in the quarters, and they start boarding up the facility. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? He's like, well, no matches tomorrow. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, there's a typhoon coming. And if you looked at the weather report, it was Wednesday was great, Thursday was great, Friday, and then Saturday, winds up to 110 miles an hour. Sunday, it was great. So we just rode out the typhoon in our hotel, and then it just watched it go through from our hotel. Semis and finals were on Sunday. Well, of course, the semis had to go early. And I think you played Randy Liu, who is still trying to get his heart rate up in triple digits to this day. The guy was the most in shape dude ever, in the teeth of the heat. And I'm like, all right, Jack, got the semis, best we could do.
It was a good run. It was a good way. Yeah, it was.
But like, I've never had a typhoon in the middle of a tournament. And they were like, yeah, it happens all the time. They were like, no big deal. We'll be good. We'll be good on Sunday.
Yeah, we were in Kaohsiung experiencing a typhoon. That's up there.
That was crazy.
I've got 2 options for me. It's either, they're both Grand Slams. They're both crazy comebacks. It's either 2013 Paris or 2016 US Open. Which one?
Well, you talked about the US Open one already. Yeah. In a previous podcast.
Yeah. You are an avid listener. Wow.
So the one was Stevie's playing French Open, first round, plays a qualifier. Stevie's down 2-0, double break, 4-1. And I think we were down match points on serve at 5-2. And somehow just guts it out, just finding a way, wins the 3rd, wins the 4th, and you're up 2-0, and it's starting to get dark. We're up 2-0, and you've got break points to go up, double break. This is the last game. And the guy holds, and I can't remember who I was with. I'm like, I know exactly what Stevie's going to tell me. I know exactly what he's going to say, and I know exactly what I'm going to tell him. So I'm waiting right there for you in the tunnel, and I'm like unbelievable effort. He goes, yeah, but I should be up 2 breaks. And I stop. I go, you want to be him or you want to be you? And you're like, good point. And then you came back the next day and you closed it out. But to be 2 sets down, double break is unheard of. It's really unheard of.
Yeah, it was against the French wildcard Laurent locally, and he was from I believe it's an island off of France, Corsica. They're like their own entity or something, and their fans, they had their own flag. It was wild. Like, this was one of the craziest environments I've ever played in. But yeah, luckily I don't speak French, so I had no idea what they were saying. So
Well, ironically, the French crowd was for you because where he was from, they were trying to break away from the French government. And the French people were not pleased with this. And so I can remember talking to some of the French players, and they were actually really wanting you to win just because of the politics around it. And the French fans got behind you. It was kind of weird to, yeah, you're a lovable guy. Lovable guy.
The French love Stevie J.
They love the passion. The passion.
All right, CB. This could be a part 1 of part 10 with CB. I feel like we could go for. We might need to bring you on every other month.
I see you, CB.
Love you guys.
All right, for our next segment here, we had a fan write into one of our Instagram posts and said, I've been calling, texting, leaving Sam Querrey voice notes for years, and we all kind of thought it was a bit confusing. So, Sammy, the floor is yours here.
Yes, I have no idea what this guy's name is. He claims his name is Henry Ford. We know it's not Henry Ford, but for probably 15 years, he got my phone number like 15 years ago. He's never texted. He always calls, and it always says, ID blocked. I can never get his number. He'll leave voicemails if I lost matches, being like, you suck. You're the worst player. These really mean voicemails. It's been 15 years. So we're finally going to reveal his identity. And I'm kind of nervous, kind of excited. I really don't like him.
Any thoughts on who it might be?
No, I have zero clue who
Could
it
it
is.
be somebody you know? Do you know the voice at all? Is it absolutely, definitely?
I think I saw him one year in DC. I remember I was on the practice court and I was about to chase him, but I couldn't get out of the court, and he ran. He came to the back to the fence and admitted that he was the guy that called me. But then he knew I didn't have access out of the court. I was on one of those runs of 5 courts in DC, and I had to go way out. I remember sprinting out, but I couldn't get to him.
This is wild.
I was so annoyed. I was going to beat the out of him on the lawn in the parking lot. I was so frustrated with him at that point. I was coming on the pod face to face.
Do we think he's actually going to show face, or do we think...
I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. Look at this freak. Are you really going to do this with a mask on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want you guys to come for me. I'm gonna have to.
I'm not going to come for you. Don't call me.
I'm not going to come for you. This isn't
Did you already have this ski mask, or did you go get the ski mask for this?
I went and bought it. Luckily, it's Halloween right now, so they had masks and stuff. So that's what worked out.
This has to be somebody you know.
Not really.
All right. Well, how'd you get my phone number all those years ago?
How did I get your number? All right, so it started with Facebook. So I was doing a lot of trolling in high school on Facebook. Not just you. I didn't only target you, but there was also Donald Young, Scoville Jenkins. But you were the only person that responded. I think I said Sam Querrey is the scum of the earth. But you responded with your personal profile. I mean, you were probably 18 or 19 at the time. So then after that, it was relentless. You made a Facebook group called Sam Querrey Needs Your Phone Numbers.
It sounds like me.
Back in the day, yeah, when you would lose your phone. And so a bunch of your friends were writing their phone numbers on there. And so I called one of the numbers, but I was like, hey, this is a friend of Sam. I lost his number. Can you please give it to me? And she was like, who is this? Maybe. And then so I told her a different name in the group, like Tom Radley. I don't even know who it was. And she was like, oh, Tom, yeah, I met you before. How are you doing? And so I chit-chatted with her for a minute, and then she gave me your number.
And you just were like, I'm gonna harass you ever since.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. It was just really funny. It was nothing personal.
I didn't answer the phone though, most of the time. Most of the time you just would leave a message. But like I said, sometimes you left a nice message if I had a big win.
I did change it up. I don't really remember the messages. It was a long time ago.
Are you really not going to take your mask off and reveal yourself?
I don't want to. I don't want your fans to come for me or something.
I retired. I don't have this isn't like the CIA here. We're not going to come for you. I got a question. Were you in DC one time watching me play 13, 14 years ago?
Yeah, that was me.
I knew it. I was telling these guys I was on the practice court. I wanted to chase you down, but I couldn't get out of the practice court.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was drunk and in high school.
Yeah, I literally was wanted to chase you down, and it was just going to pummel you in the parking lot.
So I'm sorry about that, honestly. And
all right, it's all good. We're over it now. But anyway, thanks for coming on and Sammy revealing yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
I love the ski mask.
You guys are awesome.
All right, thanks. We'll talk to you later.
What the?
What the? What the? what the was that?
That thumbnail is going to be the best thing ever.
All right, everyone, that is a wrap for us on episode 15. It was quite a doozy, if I do say so myself.
All right, Stevie, it is your turn. It's your week for random player of the week. So who you got?
Yeah, I had a couple options for player of the week. I was kind of debating. This one I feel is more random because they're a dime a dozen over here in France, but mine is going to be one career high ranking 36 with 2 titles, Florent Serra.
Florent Serra. I've played Florent Serra. I played him at the Australian Open 2007, I think.
I did see that when I was looking them up. But these French guys, like, they were able to like get so high. They have so many like huge challengers and tournaments in France. Like, you didn't see them all over the place, but they were high. Like, there was a lot of these kind of guys.
I would have never guessed 2 titles, and that's
yeah. He didn't look like an athlete either.
Not at all, but he was good.
Like really
you
good.
Get on the dirt, you were in trouble.
Yeah,
big time.
That's a good one.
Florent Serra. There we go. Random tennis player of the week.
I can't stop thinking about the ski mask. Like, I'm like,
Been a wild turn of events for the Nothing Major podcast.
This is wild.